Hello. Welcome to Tunisia's Locks, Beauty Tips and Potpourri, also known as the I Am Melanin Magic brand. I have a surprise coming up for you all soon. I will tell you soon when it's ready. I hope that you are having a beautiful day. I hope that you are peaceful, that you are productive, that you are prospering, that you're in your passion, and that your point of attraction is a positive one. And if you are not prospering, I hope that you can move into a space whereby you can look at the blessings that are in your life and you may prosper as you reflect upon that. Let's talk about today a few loctician concerns that you need to keep in the forefront of your mind at all times. Those of you who have been with me for some time here on the channel are aware of the things that I like to shed the light of awareness on. Those things often have to do with those things that put you at risk with your beautiful locks. Your locks are an investment. Your locks are a lifestyle for a lot of us, something that you want to see go the distance. And so it's very important that you discriminate between your locks, the type of lock, the loctician that you may have, and anything else, down to products, down to the things that you do to your locks. It's important that you keep your locks on your mind at all times so that you can keep your locks on your head. A good loctician is a blessing. Shout out to Shay Hinton. Shout out to Dee Dee on the West Coast. Shout out to Ifraj and Naka, which are my own personal locticians over the years during the time in which I was relying on someone outside of myself to keep my hair looking good. It is difficult and challenging to find a loctician that you resonate with. Just because a loctician is a good loctician doesn't mean that you will resonate with that person. But if you don't resonate with a person, you most certainly should not have them on your head. The key is to find a loctician that you both resonate with and someone who you trust with your most prized possession, your crown. After all, you have spent a lot of money on this journey, have you not? You have spent a lot of time on this journey, have you not? You did not just jump into this to jump out of it. You didn't jump into this to lose your hair for sure. And you most certainly in this journey do not want to jump from the pot into the frying pan. This is the channel where I'm going to give it to you like it is. This is the channel where I'm going to keep you aware of the things that you need to be made aware of. You can trust that I will be honest to you, bar none. I don't care what it costs me. My job here, I know what my calling is on this channel. My calling on this channel is to help you keep your hair on your head. Anything else you decide to do outside of that, fine. But my job, as long as I'm speaking here on this channel, is to make you aware of the things that either no one wants to talk about or to make you aware of the things that people want to hide. Okay? Or the things that we just may be ignorant of. Now, I'm not the sole source of information, but what I do try to do is give you a balanced perspective, and I want to give you a perspective that you can consider when you want to think about what is best for your hair. Now, let's talk about locticians. They are not all created equally. All right. Most important number one thing to me when it comes to your loctician, outside of the fact that you resonate with them and you feel that you can trust them, is that they be able to get you from point A to point Z and back around again when it comes to your lock journey. Oftentimes you don't realize the kind of loctician that you really have until you have a problem. And when you have a problem based upon how your loctician mitigates your concerns, then you may have a little bit more insight into who you're dealing with. So it's important that you do your due diligence on the front end. Okay, that is why I talk about a lot of these things quite a bit with regard to some of the challenges to having sister locks and micro locks and even knotted locks. You'll hear me talk more about that. Those of you who are in the course, hear me share some concerns regarding that are based on a truth, not just my truth, but a serious truth. But anyway, back at the ranch, when it comes to your loctician, it is so important that you not only be mindful of all that glitters is not gold. They could have a fancy shop. The shop could look beautiful. They may, show you pictures in the picture books and show you all the heads that they have done and all of that. Seeing those things is not going to give you the kind of insight that you need to get into the person that you're dealing with. You need testimonials, or you need to be able to somehow, if possible, get into a conversation with current clients, or ask for a few references if in fact you have someone that does not mind you speaking to people whose hair they are governing over. All right, that's really the important thing. You shouldn't have any difficulty getting some of the older clients that have been with them for a long time, and some of the clients who may be in the intermediate realm, and then some who may be new. Try to get a cross section if you can. These things are really important. And if you have someone who's operating out of honesty, or someone who's operating in their higher aspect, you're not going to have a problem getting this information from anyone. Okay, pardon me. I don't know why these things just start on their own, but it's really, really important that you do that. If you're not able to do that, there are other things that you need to be able to ask so that you get a glimpse into the type of individual that you are dealing with and their level of professionalism. And in asking some of these questions, you want to be very tactful, you want to be polite, and you also want to be very respectful. Okay, you don't want it to sound like an interrogation, but you kind of want to assess how they would manage trials and tribulations, or how they deal with certain things, or you want to get some insight into their ability to creatively problem solve when issues come up. So that's why it's important. And even above all of that, you want to get a sense of how comfortable they are with you even asking the questions in the first place, and what their response is, what their body language is. If you are dealing with a person who considers themselves a professional and they are offended by your questions, or you feel intimidated by them, trust me, they will kill your hair. If you're dealing with an individual, let me repeat again, who is offended, insecure, intimidated, defensive when it comes down to you asking simple questions, or they cannot show you proof of what they have done, or they cannot produce, a significant percentage or a significant number of testimonies that you can see, you may want to slow walk that process until you can get those things, or you may want to consider maybe perhaps going in another direction. I cannot tell you the number of people that I've had to come to me, especially over the last several months, who have been dealing with individuals who are not even comfortable with them asking questions. So then when they have a concern, the individual is in no position to actually help them. You have to be able to ascertain a person's intentions, and the only way that you are able to do that is by looking at how they move and what they stand for. The only way you're able to get insight is to feel comfortable enough to ask questions and to express yourself. If this is going to be a person that's going to be in your head, or if this is going to be a person that you're going to be learning something from, for sure, if you're going to be learning something from them, you should be able to ask questions. You should be able to ask as many questions as are needed. You should be able to see pictures. You should be able to see what is going on. You should be able to, whatever it takes for you to feel comfortable and to establish that trust and that rapport, you should be able to get that up front. If not, it's a no. It's a no-go, okay? Other things that can come up as it relates to loctician concerns, which is why the foundation I just laid for you is so important, is because when it comes down to you negotiating how often you're going to have to do a retightening, or how tight the retightnings need to be to your scalp, or questions around your pattern, or what you may feel that you may need to do when it's time to look for someone else to do your hair if you can't get an appointment in, or where the flexibility is with regard to appointment scheduling. How often have they found the need to raise the prices in the last couple of years or so? Do long-term clients get any fringe benefits or any discounts? Anything like that you may want to ask. You're not going to be able to ask that if you haven't first done the groundwork, or you may feel uncomfortable with that. Before I can get into the rest of the points that I want to make to you, let me tell you that there are some amazing Locticians out here. There are some Locticians that care about their clients. There are some Locticians who are kind. There are some Locticians who are not messy. There are some Locticians who have a good relationship with just about everybody that they've ever worked with. And then you have Locticians who are very good at their trade. You have Locticians who are very transparent and who have nothing to hide. Those are the kind of Locticians you want. In addition, the bonus obviously being that they are kind and caring. Okay, those are the type of people that you want on your team. Those are the type of people that you want to seek out. You have the opposite. You have people who take shortcuts. You have people who are messy, who gossip, who backbite, who slander, who keep a lot of drama going. You don't want those people on your head. You don't want people who don't have a healing energy, who don't have a healing spirit. You don't want people who every time you turn around, they're uptight. They're not relaxed. You are not able to be comfortable. They're not able to be professional. They're not able to make allowances for life when life is lifing. Like if you need to be 15 minutes late, or if something has come up with one of your children and they catch the flu and you need to have your appointment rescheduled. You don't want hands like that on your head if you're dealing with people who are unyielding, who are intransigent, who have trouble compromising. So the energy that is exuded from the person that is on your hair is everything, because you will have to negotiate many things along your path, okay? The other thing I want to tell you with regard to Locticians is that it's important to always have a backup. It is so important to have a backup if you yourself are not your backup. For me, I was always my backup. Even though I had an additional backup early on in my journey, eventually I could be my backup if either the two of those weren't able to get me in, or if I was traveling, or if I was hopping around in my schedule and I couldn't respond to a text right away, or I didn't know that a text came in and we had to do some scheduling changes with something that was going on my end. Usually it was on my end. Either of those Locticians, I don't believe Neka or Ifraj ever canceled an appointment or even moved an appointment during my entire, 13, 14 years with them. So I was very fortunate, but you need to have a backup. You need to have plan B should the pandemic strike. You need to have plan B should you go into labor early. You need to have plan B should you up and have to move because you get a job someplace else, or your husband ends up having to move the family somewhere. You need to have a backup if you get sick and God forbid something happens to you and you have to miss your appointment. There are a multitude of reasons why it's always good to have a backup. And a backup is someone that you've gone to once or twice, that you've also vetted in the same way that you vetted your primary Loctician, that will be available to you in the event that something else falls through. How do you ensure that? Well, first you got to find a person with a certain type of disposition. You got to find someone who doesn't mind doing your hair from time to time, even though you may not be their regular client. Some Locticians don't want to take clients like that. So you may need to find someone who is classified kind of like a trainee. They are no less qualified. In a lot of instances, you will find trainees and people who have been doing micro locks or sister locks a lot less time, or have been doing sister locks and micro locks for just a small amount of time, but they may be more impassioned about their work. They may be someone who is always trying to study, someone who's trying to learn more, someone who's always willing to open their mind up to new ideas and new techniques and new ways of doing things. So their service delivery is different. They tend to be more open. Just because they have less experience doesn't mean that they are doing less quality work. So you may have to find a trainee even, but the point is having a backup is something that you have to pre-plan for, and having a backup is something that is a necessity. It's not a luxury, and it's someone that you keep that relationship warm over the years, even if it means ever so often you go in even when nothing has happened with your primary loctician, but you go into that loctician and you have them to do your hair so that you continue the rapport, you continue to develop a relationship with that person, and you also keep your pulse on if they're still willing to see you intermittently in this particular way. It's very important, and it's something that I don't care where you are in your journey, you need to have a backup unless you are a do-it-yourselfer and you don't mind doing your own locks, okay? The other thing when it comes to your loctician, as you are considering who may be a good fit for you, you want to keep things in mind like travel time, the environment that the person is doing your hair in. I remember there was a time when Efraj moved, but she would still come into Atlanta, I think once or twice a month. I think it was maybe once a month. And I would be on her calendar alternately at those times, and she would come into my home and do my hair. And oh, I love that because I never had to leave the house. And then when she moved back to Atlanta and I had to leave my house and go there was quite a contrast. But I loved going there as well because Efraj was someone who I got along well with, and we had a great rapport. And we still have a great rapport, even though we haven't spoken in a while because I am no longer needing a loctician to do my hair. So the point that I'm making here is that you want to, in your loctician journey, you want to really understand. Obviously, you want to keep in mind pricing. What is their price now? Maybe even ask, when was the last, increase in rates? Generally, what is their pattern with regard to increasing? Now, you don't have to hammer each question back to back and put someone on the spot. You just want to get a general sense of the affordability, and that's what you want to say. As I move forward, I just wanted to get a sense of the affordability. When is the last time you increase your rates, and do they tend to go up in any kind of at certain intervals, or in any kind of strategic or calculated way, or in any whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, right? You want to get a sense of that. The other thing you want to make sure that you understand when you're dealing with your loctician is you want to pay attention to the things that can make their job easier. There is a lot that we don't understand, or that we may make small or not prioritize because we are on the other side, okay? We are the client. Even if you are a loctician, a lot of times you can tend to see both sides of the fence, but when you're the client, you still have a certain level of expectation because you're on that side of the fence. So it's important that you do everything you can to make this individual's time well spent, to not complicate what it is they're trying to do, and then to make sure that you implement the things that they tell you to implement. For example, if they tell you they want you to braid and band, and you figure you're out of the first year and you don't need to braid and band, but they tell you to braid and band, braid and band. The only thing I would say I would take issue with is if someone told me, especially if I was beyond 6 months, and someone told me that I don't need to put oil on my locks. That's something that I would take issue with, because me personally, I used oil before my journey. I need oil now. I have super dry hair. I've always needed oil. I can't imagine any type of lock where I would not need oil, especially with the stressful rituals that we put our hair through with sister locks and micro locks. Knotted locks too, same thing. You need oil. Okay, so it's very important. So taking the advice and doing the things that they tell you to do, and even anticipating other things that they may not tell you to do that you can do to make their life easier, like detangling your hair, okay, before you go in, making sure your hair is clean. Efraj was not going to work on dirty hair, and she was not washing my locks. I always wanted to, she probably would have, I don't know, but I just know I always wanted to wash my own locks. I've been like that since the beginning. I don't know if she will wash or not, but I know I wanted to wash my own locks because it helped me to see what was going on with my hair. And I got the opportunity to do the detangling, which was important to me because that is a part of my hair care regimen, and it is a part of what I advise all of the people who may come to me to do hair consultations or whatever. Where I am from, If you want to control as much as what is going on with your hair as possible, and you can't control the retightenings, then you need to make sure you control the before and the aftercare and the in-between as it has to do with inspections, which will bring me to my last point for this particular video, and that is you must inspect the work that your loctician does. Do not just sit in the chair passively and let them do your hair without then inspecting what you expect. We have heard horror stories on this channel. Many of you have placed them in the comments. Many of you will see them in the book that is the ebook that should be ready before the beginning of the year on the IamMelaninMagic.com website. Well, I will give you the inside scoop on things that you need to be aware of, the particulars that contribute to hair loss, the kind of relationships that you need to have with your locticians, and the things that you need to make sure that you do to safeguard your hair journey. It's super important. As I mentioned before, all locticians are not created equally. Everybody approaches this with a different set of ethics, with a different methodology, and actually a different mechanical way in which they do your hair. When Ifraj would do my hair, it was different and looked different than when Nika would do my hair, because they were different. And what they did during the actual retightening was different. So these are all things that are super, super important. I hope that you got something out of this video today. I enjoyed speaking with you. I love you all. I appreciate all of your support. I really appreciate all of your support. And if you haven't purchased the Manifesting Your Masterpiece book, you can get it on Amazon. For those of you who have already purchased the book, thank you, thank you, thank you. With love, with love, with love. I hope that you all have a beautiful, happy Thanksgiving. I have a lot of stuff planned for Thanksgiving, and I'm very excited. I will be in the kitchen tomorrow and Thursday, but I hope that you will enjoy this time, whether you celebrate it or not. It's a time where in this country, everyone happens to be off, and it's a good time to take advantage of visiting. For some of you, it might even be a good time to just rest up and just commune and just lay like broccoli. But whatever it is, I just hope that you have a beautiful Thanksgiving. I wish you all the best in this holiday season. If I haven't had a chance to speak with you, oh yes, that reminds me, do know that I Am Melanin Magic. I can't believe I forgot to mention this. I Am Melanin Magic is having a sale from now until the Friday after Thanksgiving, because Black Friday is this Friday. I'm starting the sale late. Kind of got on the bandwagon late, so the sale will extend until next Friday. It will start immediately at this time today. I believe it's about 4:45. I gotta go. It's about 4:45 on the Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving for all orders over $100. There is a, where is it? I don't have it, but there is the travel size of the premium blend that will be placed in your order. For those of you who ordered yesterday, I have already placed that trial size in your order, okay? Lots of love to you. I will also be sending out emails to you all regarding the sale as a reminder if you don't see it here, and I will put something in the community post, and I will likely do a short as well. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Again, I thank you. I thank you for your love, for your support, for your comments, for your outreach, for your emails, for your gifts, and all the other beautiful things that you guys donate to the channel in addition to your likes and your subscribes. Albie does too.